Are you YouTuber?
I think so. If you couldn't tell, my channel has been growing quite exponentially in the past month or so. So firstly, thank you all very much for watching, subscribing, etc. It genuinely, it means the world to me. Secondly, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? To celebrate this channel reaching over 1,000 subscribers, I got some questions from the YouTube community page and from my Discord server for a little Q&A special. Yes, it's quite late, I know. So without further ado, it's about time I stopped reading off a script for the first time in literal years on this channel. Okay, a couple questions from the homie Star. Ooh. Number one, was you a Twitch streamer before becoming a YouTuber? Still am. I'm cringe. Could someone cringe do this?
Yeah.
And yeah, I still stream on Twitch, but I think I first started on Twitch when I was probably about 15. 5 years ago, Jesus Christ. I think I really picked up Twitch when I was 17, around my birthday, and I just kept streaming as much as I physically could. Yeah, and then as soon as I got to uni, got my own PC, got some editing software of my own, and I started making my own videos as well. Number two, what was your motivation to make a YouTube channel? I'd seen other people do it. I had crappy opinions about things on the internet, so I felt like people needed to hear them. My first video was literally just a stream compilation. But then I realised after that, why not talk about cool stuff that I like, that not enough people have heard about. So I just wanted to bring more attention to things that I like people don't know, like Sayano Uta, Shadows of the Damned, etc. Number three, are you going to make any other genre of video aside from horror in the future? Hopefully. I mean, if you look at my discography, I don't know. I mean, I've covered stuff other than horror in the past. I've covered Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. That's as far from horror as you could get. I mean, yes, my channel is majorly horror and disturbing things. So like Vivino's Josie Poo, Anime to Disturb You. If there's something I'm interested in that is less creepy, I'll probably cover it eventually. But right now, it seems like the horror stuff is working, and I may as well stick with what's working for now. You know, I'm fine with that. I'm happy making them, and people seem happy watching them. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What's the reason behind the tattoo on your back? This thing. This beautiful thing. For those who are cultured, I mean, if you're on this channel anyway, chances are you are cultured in the way of the weeb, right? So wrong way. This is from the anime/manga Berserk, which it means a lot to me. It's the only tattoo I have, and for good reason. One, I can't afford more tattoos. Two, the symbol and Berserk on a whole just means a lot to me. Just the story of a character who goes through so much hard events in his life, yet still tries to pull himself out this hole that just keeps getting deeper and deeper, to the point that they gain the nickname The Struggler. I like that. Thematically, it speaks to me. I'd highly suggest reading Berserk more so than watching it. If you're gonna watch it, watch the 1990s version. But just this story of a man just struggling to exist, even though every single odd is just against him. It means a lot to me. When I first started reading it, I was an edgy young boy, and it stuck with me, and I became a huge fan of it, which made it even more sadder when it recently ended under less than fortunate circumstances. But yeah, read Berserk. If you like fantasy, medieval, gory shit, yeah, just read Berserk. Number 5, do you have an upload schedule? I try. I'm trying to get a video out a week, but on top of uni, streaming, and making videos, it's a lot. And I'm lazy as well, so I try to get a video out a week, but it ends up usually being a week and a half, so I apologise, but I usually try to get a video out a week. I try to. There'll at least be a video once every 2 weeks. At the bare minimum, okay? There'll always be a video out at least once every 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Okay, couple questions from the homie Crisscross. What was your scariest monster as a child? I mean, there's 2 answers to that question. Number 1, Woody the Woodpecker. And number 2, The Grudge. Bit of a difference between those two, in my opinion, if you couldn't tell. I don't know why I was scared of Woody the Woodpecker as a kid. He's just spooky. He's got a really high-pitched voice. He's like Fred mixed with the Animaniacs. It just didn't sit right with me. And on top of that, I had a plush of Woody the Woodpecker that would always be at the end of my bed staring at me. So I'm not a fan of Woody the Woodpecker. But if we're talking like actual monsters, the Ju-On or the Grudge, because I saw the Sam Raimi versions of the Grudge movies way too young. Because what I used to do as a kid, I never used to want to go to bed. So I would just stay up and just watch telly and have the volume on 0 with just the subtitles on. And as a result of that, I used to end up watching just a fuck ton of movies that run at like 3 AM. And if it's a movie on at 3 AM, it's usually not for kids. It's going to be, you know, something a bit more heinous. So I ended up watching the Grudge movies. And I don't even think it was the Grudge 1 that stuck with me. I think it was the Grudge 2. Just a lot of the imagery in that. Like, especially the ending, like the hoodie and stuff. The Grudge just fucked with you. Just that haunts me, bro. That sound, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It still spooks me. The other question from Chris. What is your ideal length for a YouTube video? I mean, as long as it's long enough to get ads, who cares? Am I right?
That's fucked up!
Like, I don't want to make videos that are too short. I genuinely want to get them above 10 minutes, not because of ads, just, I don't know, you don't, if it's a video about, I don't know, like, a creature or something, I want to be, like, at least around 10 minutes, but I don't really have an ideal amount, because if you look at my old videos, I have half an hour long videos, I have 5-minute ones, the length is kind of all over the place. It's just, when I'm writing the script, I'll write it for as long as, if I feel like I've covered all the topics I want to cover, that's as long as the video is, it doesn't really matter. But with like the more recent stuff, like the YouTube's Hidden Horrors, I want to make them a little bit longer, because a lot more people are watching them, you know, they're what's picking up right now, and I want people to watch as much of my videos as possible and get as much out, so I want to make them at least like 10-15 minutes long, but there isn't really like an ideal length. I mean, I've always wanted to make like an hour-long magnum opus of a video, but the problem with that lies in the fact that if I make an hour-long video, it's very off-putting. You know, if you see that's a commitment. Watching a YouTube video for a full hour, that's a commitment. Not even to talk about the pre-production of the scripting, editing, B-roll, etc. Not even talking about the time behind it. Just trying to get people to watch it is just hard as well. And even if that would take me like a month or 2 to make, if no one watches it, it would be a bit disheartening. So I don't know. Right now, short and medium-sized videos are working for me, like 10 to 15 minutes long. So I'll just stick with them that length. It seems to be working, so yeah, again, if it ain't broke, cut quite a few from the homie Jacob's Crackers. Lovely boy. Favourite creepypasta and why? Oh no, I could tell you the opposite. There's a lot of creepypastas that I don't like, because a lot of the creepypastas that have gotten big and famous and all that sort of stuff are badly written, but they're always accompanied with like a creepy picture, and it's the creepy picture that sells it more than the story, like Jeff the Killer, Smile Dog, Eyeless Jack, Laughing Jack, every other Jack and every other killer, you know? It's the image that sells it more than the story, so it's rare to find a creepypasta that just has a really good story. Off the top of my head, like, I dared my best friend to kill me. No, I dared my best friend to ruin my life. The only problem with that is that it's hours long. It's like pages upon pages. It's like NES Godzilla, you know? I mean, there's a lot of creepypastas out there that I like, but they're usually a bit more underground in a sense, where they just have like a pretty boring title, but the writing's good. The more memorable the title, usually, the more worse the creepypasta is, except Candle Cove. Candle Cove is okay. Candle Cove's okay. And then I mean, Where Bad Kids Go is okay as well. There's a couple of okay ones that are like popular, but those two are okay. Favourite Five Nights at Freddy's? Five Nights at Fuckboys. If I had to pick like an actual Five Nights at Freddy's, I'd say the first one. I'm a basic bitch, I know. The more Five Nights at Freddy's games there were, the more they tried to change the formula over and over and over again, like the opposite of a Call of Duty, right? So the first one has doors, the second one doesn't have doors, the third one has no doors and sound and vents, and the fourth one is just, it's doors but it's sound this time instead of visuals. Like, every game kept trying to change it, and I feel like it didn't peak with the well, maybe. I don't know, the first one's the simplest, and I think it has the best ambience, like the best thematic feeling. Yes, the models look the roughest in that one, and I feel like all of the games suffer from, you know, repetitiveness. Like when you die more than once, it just gets more annoying than scary, you know. But I feel like the first one, like the sounds of the doors. I mean, check out my doors in horror games, you know. Like I talk about Five Nights at Freddy's doors in that, you know. I'm very much a fan of the first one. Granted, I haven't played Help Wanted. I have a VR, but it's never on sale. And if it is on sale, it's never on sale by a lot. But it probably turned into Help Wanted because the first one's on that as well. So one, if not that, Five Nights at Fuck Boys. If not that, Help Wanted. Even though I haven't played it. Pretty concise answer, I know. Favorite fighting game? You don't just ask a man that. That's a very deep question. Philosophers have tried to answer that question for millennia. You don't just ask someone that. I played a lot of Dragon Ball FighterZ. I got really good at Dragon Ball FighterZ. Well, not really good. Above average. Top 50 on PS4, by the way. At one point. But, like, with all fighting games, over time, some fighting games just get too repetitive, and you can see the mechanical problems the more you play it. Like, with Dragon Ball FighterZ, Super Dash is still pretty abusable. I know they've did a big update of the game, but there's still things about the game that I really don't like how every character feels incredibly samey. I mean, Guilty Gear Strive right now is pretty good, but there's still a lot of problems with that balance-wise. I mean, do I even need to mention Sol? Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, as a kid, when I was younger, before I, like, got ridiculous in the fighting games, I loved MK. My first fighting game was MK Deadly Alliance, and I loved that, even though it gave me nightmares. I loved it. I loved old school Tekken. Like, the first fighting games I really got into was like old school Tekken. I liked trying to play Marvel vs Capcom, but I was never very good at it. I never really understood it mechanically. Like, I love all fighting games, just not equally. But I have love-hate relationships with some as well. So it's like, I don't know, it's a heavy-handed question. Like, the one I've played the most is probably Dragon Ball FighterZ, so if I had to pick one, probably that. Favourite Jacob Sartorius. Favourite DBD character? Chris Redfield. But if you're saying, like, original character for Dead by Daylight, David King. Just because British. Do I have any deep dark secrets I'd like to share? No. Okay, a couple from Lily Leaf. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a fuck. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck really good chuck? Fuck off. What is your opinion on old horror? I don't know whether or not you mean, like, movies, like old school Nosferatu, or books, like old school, like Lovecraft. So I'll go both ways. If we're talking like old school early horror, like Nosferatu, Dracula, Frankenstein, that type of stuff, obviously they're cheesy by today's standards, but you know, I've got a little soft spot for them. I like them. I like all forms of horror. Granted, there's some that I like a lot less than other forms, like shock horror, like a Serbian film and stuff like that. But you know, I like every form of horror. So like, if I had to pick like my favourite old horror film, I'd probably say Nosferatu, because I think there's a bit of trivia where apparently like they used fake blood. It was like one of the first films ever to use like fake blood and stuff, so people in the theatre would faint and just pass out because, oh my god, there's blood on screen. They thought it was real. I mean, for the time, the like makeup on Nosferatu isn't bad. Granted, it's not exactly a fucking 1080p picture, but like, dude looks ugly. Looks good, you know? If we're talking about books, I don't even need to tell you. Your homie loves Lovecraft. Just saying. Lovecraft. What my opinion on old school 1900s horror? Read Rats in the Walls. There you go. That's like a lesser known H.P. Lovecraft book. And it's fairly short and fairly good. There you go. One from TJ, aka Zombie Man Guy. Most based horror take. I'll translate that from Redditor to English. That basically just means most controversial horror opinion. I liked the Thing prequel. That's kind of edgy. Yeah, I liked the prequel slash reboot slash whatever it was of the Thing that was made in like 2012, I guess. It was relatively recent. It's newer than the old Thing by John Carpenter. But the reason I like it is that the plot wasn't bad. It referenced the classic, like the old school John Carpenter, a lot. It didn't suffer from a lot of problems. It's just the problems it did have were very big and glaring. The most obvious of which being the CG, which it was originally practical effects, but they just kind of CG'd over at the last minute, which means it could have been like a great horror classic, but for some reason test audiences didn't like the practical effects, so they just CG'd over the practical effects that had already been done, which which is just unfortunate. I'd love to see a cut where it was just the practical effects, but we don't live in the best timeline, so, you know. I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty based horror take. I think that's pretty, like, out there. I like that movie. It's not like a fucking 10 out of 10. It's like a 6 or a 6.5. It's not like, it's not on my top 30 or, like, anything like that. But I think it was a good movie. You know, it was relatively decent, but everyone shits on it because of the CG, even though the CG wasn't even supposed to be there, which is just unfortunate. You know, just unfortunate. Schwendy. How big are your boobs? Double D. I just hide it really well, you know. I usually wear a lot of black, so you might be able to tell now. You want to see?
You! Give her the phone! You are horny!
1876 Vanker, the homie. Okay, he's got 2. If you could live in any country besides Englishland, where would you live? Somewhere in America, to be honest. I make fun of it a lot, because you know, it's the lesser England, and they've just stole all of our place names. Like, instead of England in America, you've got New England. Instead of York, you've got New York and shit like that. But I don't know, just go to like Hawaii or some shit where it's just nice and peaceful, just where you've got a decent internet connection and air conditioning, and just, yeah, sorted. Yeah, that's it. Oh no, he's got 3 questions. Fishing or hunting? Neither. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I mean, I kid, but I've been invited to both, and I just kind of don't. Fishing's too boring, and hunting's not my thing. I'm not really a fan of either, to be honest. I'm not a fan of gutting pigeons. It's not how I'd like to spend my day. Japanese or European cars? Not gonna lie, I don't want to learn how to drive, but if I did, I'd want a Mini Cooper, which is British as fuck. So, European cars. This is actually a really good question. I think this is the last one. Not a Real Person asks, how deep do you investigate for the sake of your videos? For example, Mothman. It's case by case. So, for example, for the Mothman vid, I'll look at wikis, I'll look at a couple articles, I'll look at a couple sightings and a couple documentaries. Not a huge amount, right? Because most of the information about them is just on the internet, like on the close surface layer of the internet, so you don't really look a lot. If it's something like, I don't know, a why you should buy, I probably do a lot more research for them into the context of the game itself or the whatever I'm looking at. So, like, for example, in the Metal Gear Rising video again, there's like little bits of trivia in that video that I didn't know before researching, like about certain sword names and meanings behind characters and stuff, which is cool. I don't do a ridiculous amount of research, because you might be able to tell because I've made a couple mistakes in videos, like Tilly Tilly Bomb. We know where that's from. It just sounds cooler to say that we don't know where it's from. Oops, I should probably put a comment pinning that, like a pinned comment saying, yeah, it's just from like a 2007 horror movie, but I should probably research more. Yeah, I think that's it. Is that everything? Yeah. 20 minutes, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm going to be cutting this for ages. So then, well, thank you fellas. Like, it genuinely, the fact that this video exists is just kind of a baffling milestone. Genuinely, thank you to everyone who watches this or watched any of my other videos, subscribe and like and comment and etc. Thank you, genuinely. You don't know how, just thank you. I'm so happy that people are watching these videos, and it genuinely makes me feel really good, so thank you. But that being said, toodles my doodles, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Nice.